Beany and Cecil was an animated cartoon series created by Bob Clampett for the ABC television network. The cartoon was based on the television puppet show Time for Beany, which Clampett produced for Paramount Pictures beginning in 1949. The animated series first appeared in Matty's Funday Funnies in 1959, later renamed Matty's Funnies with Beany and Cecil, and finally Beany and Cecil in the USA. Another season was produced in 1988. In its original form with hand puppets, the show conveyed a greater sense of personal communication than did the animated series that followed. The hand puppets were extensively marketed and sold well. Although a children's show, it incorporated satirical references to current events and personalities which adults found entertaining, and the show also attracted adult viewers. Some of the plots were easily recognizable as thinly veiled lampoons of current political issues. Snarky side remarks by Beany, Cecil and the rest of the cast often alluded to embarrassing public fiascos or personages, on which the adult audience immediately picked up. Along with the Jetsons and the Flintstones, it was one of the first three-color television series on the ABC television network. History: Beany and Cecil was created by animator Bob Clampett after he left Warner Brothers, where he had been directing theatrical cartoon shorts. Clampett originated the idea for Cecil when he was a boy after seeing the top half of the dinosaur swimming from the water at the end of the 1925 film The Lost World. Clampett originally created the series as a puppet show called Time for Beany, which ran from February 28, 1949 to 1954. Time for Beany featured the talents of veteran voice actors Stan Freberg as Cecil and Dishonest John, and Dawes Butler as Beany and Uncle Captain. Clampett revived the series in animated form, though Freberg and Butler did not reprise their roles. On October 11, 1959, the animated show was introduced as Matty's Funday Funnies. Named for Matty Mattel, the animated spokesperson for its primary sponsor Mattel Toys. The program was later retitled The Beany and Cecil Show, airing primetime on Saturdays during the 1962 TV season, on ABC television. The newer cartoons replaced the famous studio's cartoons of Casper the Friendly Ghost and Little Audrey among others, packaged under the previous said title of Matty's Funday Funnies. After 1962, the 26 shows were repeated on Saturday mornings for the next 5 years. The cartoon featured Beany, a boy, and Cecil the sea serpent embarking on a series of adventures, often to discover ancient civilizations and artifacts. These escapades were rife with cartoon slapstick and puns. Prior to the animated series, but concurrent with the puppet show, Clampett created a comic book series of Beany and Cecil Adventures for Dell Comics. The artwork for this series of comics, running from 1951 to 54, was drawn by Jack Bradbury. In 1988, the show was revived as The New Adventures of Beany and Cecil by DC Entertainment. Only 8 episodes were ever made, and only 5 episodes ever aired. This incarnation of the show was produced and directed by John Kricfalusi, who would later create The Ren and Stimpy Show, and made use of voices from Billy West, who also did voices for Ren and Stimpy. Characters Main characters Beany Boy, a young, cupid-faced boy with a propeller beanie that allows him to fly. Beany is a good-hearted, upbeat lad. In most episodes, Beany would be kidnapped by the villain or vice versa, crying "Help, Cecil! Help!" To which Cecil would reply, "I'm a-comin', Beany Boy," as he raced to the rescue. This has become something of a catchphrase. Beany was originally voiced by Jim McGeorge in the 60s series and by Mark Hildreth in the 80s series. Cecil, a large green sea serpent with a slight lisp. He is fiercely loyal to Beany but not terribly bright. Cecil's trusting good nature invariably winds up with him being taken advantage of by the bad people, and he often ends up absorbing a great amount of physical abuse, all within the laws of cartoon physics. The end of Cecil's tail was never seen in most episodes. It always extended off-screen, or was hidden behind an obstacle. This is likely a joking reference to the original Cecil, a hand puppet whose tail was likewise hidden. Cecil's tail did appear in Beany and the Jack Stork, when his entire body got wound into the tension spring of a giant cuckoo clock. Cecil also has a superhero alter ego known as Super Cecil. In this guise, he wears a modified Superman shirt. It was Cecil who cried a Bob Clampett cartoon at the opening of each episode. Cecil was originally voiced by Ive Shoemaker in the 60s cartoon and by Billy West in the 80s cartoon. Captain Horatio Huffenpuff, also called Uncle Captain, he is Beany's kindly uncle and the captain of the Lina, which takes the pals from one destination to the other. The captain is always willing to instruct Beany and Cecil on their latest assignment, but is rather cowardly and refuses to put himself in any personal jeopardy, locking himself below deck or under a box labeled Captain Huffenpuff's hiding box for most of the episodes. Uncle Captain was voiced by Jim McGeorge in both series. Mouthful of Teeth Keith, a cowardly, toothless and xenophobic old lion that hid in the first jungle arrived at by the crew. Trying desperately to maintain his isolation from the interlopers, Keith would roar threateningly at any passerby or invader of his territory. On first encounter with Keith, the crew was terrified of the unknown and imperious jungle beast. However, as the story unfolds, Cecil begins to suspect that Keith is really a good guy, and fearful of strangers. After a few minor skirmishes and a lot of trust, they all become good friends. Audience response to the gentle and maned feline giant was so great that Keith soon became a regular member of the troupe. On several episodes, he rose to the occasion, rescuing the crew from peril in spite of his shy and reclusive nature. Crowy, the navigator of the Lina. He is a crow, and unsurprisingly spends most of his time in the crow's nest. He speaks in a squawky voice and has a tendency to faint dead away whenever the ship encounters some sort of hazard. Voiced by Jim McGeorge. Dishonest John, the villain of the piece. He is dressed like a Simon Legree character, and he is constantly scheming to foil Beany and Cecil's adventures. His catchphrase is a sinister "IRR pound HH." And he occasionally refers to Cecil as a tall toad, worm, or big salami. Whenever Dishonest John's schemes are revealed to the heroes, Cecil tends to respond with an aghast, "What the heck? DJ, you dirty guy." When Dishonest John receives his inevitable comeuppance, it is usually just as painful as the abuse Cecil has endured in the rest of the episode. Dishonest John also has a supervillain alter ego known as the Bilious Beetle. In this guise, he can fly under his own power and sports a painful stinger. DJ also appeared disguised on occasion as the mechanical robotic octopus Billy the Squid, usually in haphazard attempts to simulate sea storms to scare away the crew of the Lina when on a treasure hunt. Dishonest John carried a business card that read, "Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Special rates for Sundays and holidays." He was originally voiced by Ive Shoemaker in the 60s series and by Maurice LaMarche in the 80s series. Minor characters Davy Cricket, a cricket with a coonskin cap who lives in the backwoods of 8-9 Tennessee. A parody of Walt Disney's wildly popular segments on the Disneyland TV show based on the life of American frontiersman Davy Crockett. In Cricket's self-titled episode, Dishonest John tries unsuccessfully to sign Davy to a lucrative Hollywood movie contract. Go-Man Van Gogh, a stereotypical cartoon beatnik wild man who lives in the jungles of Wildsville on the Hungry Island. He often paints various things with his paintbrush, including paintings, vines to swing on, and fake backdrops to fool enemies. He also often plays a set of bongo drums, does scat singing, and speaks with various beatnik stereotype slang. Though he did not appear in many episodes, he was somewhat of a recurring character in the bumpers. He was originally voiced by Lord Buckley in The Wildman of Wildsville, and then by Scatman Crothers after Buckley's death in 1960. Hercules, a rabbit version of Hercules who accessed supermental powers by wearing a helmet called a thinking cap and traveled in the guided muscle, a rocket shaped like a muscle man's arm with a clenched fist. Jack the Knife, a friendly, jazz-singing sawfish with a heavy French accent. A parody of singer Bobby Darin and his 1959 recording of the song Mac the Knife. His saw-like nose is used like a sword to help Cecil defeat Dishonest John in the episode Hero by Trade. he usually sang to the tune of a jazzy rendition of My Darling Clementine. Little Ace from Outer Space, an astronaut mouse. In his self-titled episode, he was used by the people at Cape Banana Peel to see whether there was any weather. Cecil and Dishonest John competed to get Little Ace back to the Cape for a cash reward. In Rat Race from Space, he was sent in a rocket to be the first mouse on the moon only to end up in the ocean. Voiced by Paul Frees. Terry Long the Dotted Lion, a muscle-bound lion obsessed with exercise and vitamins, a possible parody of fitness guru Jack LaLanne, who had a popular TV exercise show around the same time as Beany and Cecil. His name is a pun of the phrase tear along the dotted line, but Terry Long himself wasn't spotted. He spoke with a southern U.S. accent similar to the Warner Brothers animated character Foghorn Leghorn. One of the original characters on the Time for Beany puppet show. Voiced by Dawes Butler. Careless the Mexican Hairless, Cecil's jovial pet chihuahua, introduced in the episode Cecil Gets Careless, and so named because of his tendency to knock things over when he happily jumps and dances. He sings to the tune of the Mexican folk song El Jarabe Tapatio. He is called a Mexican Hairless for comic effect. The actual breed, also known as Xoloitzewindli, is much larger. William Shakespeare Wolfe, an actor wolf who was the foil for Little Quacker, a duckling he desired to eat up, and Rin Tin Can, a robot dog. Beeping Tom, a diminutive alien who flew about in an open-top flying saucer. Named for his habit of making beeping sounds. When he spoke, he would hum the first line of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and then sing his phrase to the tune of the next line. A high-pitched, sped-up voice similar to the Chipmunks was used for the character, and the words he spoke appeared as a rebus in a word balloon over his head. Shupalong Catskill, a frog wearing a cowboy hat who walked with a limp similar to that of Dennis Weaver's Chester on the TV show Gunsmoke and spoke with a Yiddish accent. His catchphrase was Hey Shimdrik. Would you like a cup of coffee? The character was voiced by Yiddish comedy singer Mickey Katz, Peking Tom, a Siamese alley cat who sang about being a very hungry guy. I've got to get some food 'cause I'm too young to die. Cora the Clinging Vine, also known as Flora, a vine who literally has a crush on Cecil while singing groovy, and jazz scats to him. Venus the Meanest and Venice the Menace, two space robot from Venus who at first were reported to be invading Earth but came down for a picnic. Venice the Menace's name is a play on Dennis the Menace, both the British and American versions, and acts like Linus Van Pelt from Peanuts right down to his thumb-sucking and dirty old blanket. The robot ants, a group of ants brought by Venus the Meanest to be part of her picnic on Earth. They sing a march based on the children's song This Old Man. The Boo Birds, a gang of mischievous ghost birds that haunt an abandoned castle where Cecil stayed. They sing a tune Filet of Soul based the song, When the Saints Come Marching In. Music. One episode featured Tchaikovsky's instantly recognizable Celesta piece, Dance of the Sieur Chaplin Ferry, from The Nutcracker. Other famed pieces of The Nutcracker were used in the series as musical interludes such as the Chinese Dance and Dance of the Reed Flutes. Many other well-known classical music pieces were featured in the show as well, including the William Tell Overture, Ride of the Valkyries and Flight of the Bumblebee. Some of the background music was also recycled from Leave It to Beaver and some early Walter Lantz cartoons and incidental music from The Alvin Show. Influence. The AC/DC song Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap is titled after the business cards of character Dishonest John, which read Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Holidays, Sundays and special rates. In Marvel Comics universe, there is a spacefaring Imperial Guard unit with a member codenamed Warstar who actually consists of two separate aliens, one smaller being riding on top of the other more massive one, named Beany and Cecil, respectively. The puppet origins and the form of Cecil inspired the famous science fiction author Larry Niven to invent an important extraterrestrial race called Pearson's Puppeteer within his known space series of novels and short stories. Beany and Cecil was also an inspiration for Joel Hodgson to create the show Mystery Science Theater 3000. The artists, executive producer, A.C.R. Stone, producer, Bob Clampett, animation directors, Jack Hanna, Dick Kinney, story material storyboards, Bob Clampett, Eddie Maxwell, Albertino, Jack Bonestell, Dale Hale, Lloyd Turner, Layout, Terrell Stapp, Willie Ito, Tony Scroy, Homer Jonas, Master Animator, Art Scott, Animators, Lou Appett, Harry Bud Hester, Bill Nuns, Al Stetter, Frank Gonzalez, Bill Southwood, Carl A. Bell, Backgrounds, Curtis Perkins, Robert Abrams, Marie Reed, Music _ Bob Clampett, Soddy Clampett, Hoyt Curtin, Jack Roberts, music published by Merrifield Music Company, Incorporated. Production assistants, Dick Elliott, John So, Jan Thorpe, Mike Sweetman, voice talents of Jim McGeorge, Ive Shoemaker. A Bob Clampett production, in association with Television Artists and Producers Corporation. The credits of the show did not show traditional job titles, but pictorial icons indicating their jobs. Bob Clampett's writing credit was indicated by a typewriter typing out the words. By Bob Clampett, for instance. Episode list equals, oils well that ends well / no such thing / DJ. The DJ 61962, there goes a good squid / Ben hair / hair today, gone tomorrow 61962, cheery cheery beanie / naya haha. Swingin' singin' sea serpent 61962, Mad Owl of Mad Hatton / Hemi Awards / Hercules and the Golden Fleecing 61962, Beanie blows his top / Beanie flips his lid / Flestone Cop Caper 61962, Thumb Fun / Living Doll / Beanie Land 51962, Dragon Train / 10 foot tall and wet / Dirty Pool 51962, Cecil's Comical Strip / Beanie's Residuals / What the Heck 51962, Ain't That a Cork in the Snorkel? / Makes a Sea Serpent Sauce / So What and 7 Whatnots 51962, Ain't I a Little Stinger / Warring Twenties / B&C Meet Invisible Man 41962. Here Comes the Schmoboat / Timed Cricket, Cricket / Cecil Always Saves the Day 41962, Rintinkin / Wild Vast Vastlands / Invisible Man Has Butterfingers 41962, Dirty Birdie / Man Eater Skeeters / Leading Ladybug 41962, 20,000 Little Leaguers / Malice in Blunderland / Buffalo Billy 31962, Beanie's Beanie Cap Copter / Indiscreet Skeet / Phantom of the Horse Opera 31962, Sleeping Beauty and the Beast / Quackers in Bed / DJ Meets Cowboy Star 31962, Hero by Trade / Illegal Eagle Egg / Cecil Gets Careless 31962, Beanie and the Jackstalk / Humbug / Custard's Last Stand 31962, Greatest Schmo on Earth / B&C Meet Billy the Squid / Capture of the Three, headed 321962 Rat Race for Space / Beanie and the Boo Birds / B&C Meet Ping Pong 21962, Seventh Voyage of Sin Good Cecil Meets Cecilia Thunderbolt the Wonder Colt 21962, Monstrous Monster / Tommy Hawk Yo Ho Ho and Bubble of Gum / 21962, Trip to the Schmoon / Grime Doesn't Pay / Beanie's Buffalo Hunt 11962, Davy Cricket / Strange Objects / Tear Along the Dotted Line 11962 Little Ace from Outer Space / Super Cecil / Wildman from Wildsville 11962, Spots Off a Leopard / Invasion of Earth by Robots / Singing Dinosaur 11962. Notes. External links, Beany and Cecil DVD website, Beany and Cecil at Toon Tracker, Beany and Cecil at Toonopedia, Beany and Cecil at TV.com, Beany and Cecil at Big Cartoon Database.